Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have an absolutely stacked draw preview and prediction video to get into. It's a WTA 500 in Stuttgart, the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix, and it's always stacked because it's an indoor clay court tournament. It is unique. There's also a Porsche up for grabs for the winner, which is incredible as well. And it's just a great event. I think the players really enjoy it. It's clearly a bit more of a lavish experience and something where I feel like they feel they're being treated really well. And it seems to be quite a player favorite, I think, on tour. The lineup is worthy of a Masters 1000 lineup. We'll get into that. But Sabalenka is playing at Swiatek, Goff, Navarro, Schneider. So many top players are playing in this event. We're going to get into every single match. I'll pick my winners for every single one, and then we'll work our way through. And ultimately, I will give you guys my predicted champion. Before we do get into it, though, remember that like button. Do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you are listening on a podcast platform. Okay, so this is. I really like this event, and I'm hoping at some point I will make the journey to Stuttgart to cover this as media. That would be the goal, I think. For me, anyway, I'd love to cover it. Rybakina, who won it last year, she's not playing the tournament this year, which is a big shame because she clearly likes this tournament and this surface. And what to me is really interesting is because it's indoors and it's on clay, there's a little bit of an interesting, I would say, mix and match in terms of the conditions and how the courts play. Because it's clay, obviously it's quite slow, but because it's indoors, it suits big servers more because there's no outdoor conditions to battle with. And when I say big servers, let me take the word big out and say it suits the more effective servers playing indoors, whether you're a spot server or a big or a power server or both. Then it also means as well, because indoors and just because of the way it's the clay in this tournament, like probably because it's indoors, it's slightly quicker than an ordinary clay court. I don't think, from what I've seen, it's as quick as the clay altitude that we've seen in Madrid, but it's not super slow like a Roland Garros or a Rome, from what I've seen anyway. Could change this year, who knows? Maybe the clay has changed. So, no reigning champion, Rybakina. She actually beat Swiatek as well in the tournament last year, which was really impressive. Although it's indoor clay, not outdoor clay, so that's always interesting to look at as well. But it is what it is. The finalist in Marta Kostyuk, she is playing. So she'll be hoping to make another really good run. Let's get into the draw then. So, Sabalenka has a bye, and Potapova plays Clara Tauson. A lot of these players I haven't seen on clay yet, or I haven't. Well, when I say I haven't seen on clay yet, I haven't seen on clay in 2025. Someone like Towson is going to be an interesting player to keep an eye on because her game, I think, has come on quite a bit this year. How does she now look on clay, and how does it translate in terms of her improvements? Does it hold up nicely on clay? Does it even potentially look even better on clay, or does it look worse? And I guess we'll see. But one of the biggest things about her game, I think, is her serve, and that's more likely than not going to be less of a weapon on clay because of how slow it is. But I think she'll beat Potapova. Mertens plays a qualifier in Sasnovich. I'll go with Mertens. I think she's quite solid on the clay. Kudermetova qualifier versus Schneider. This is a potential banana skin for Schneider. As I said, big or let's just say effective servers are going to play better on these clay courts than clay courts ordinarily. Schneider is a good all-round player. She's got good variety. I'm interested to see what she does do in the clay court swing, just generally. It's a tough one because she hasn't been playing the best tennis, and I thought she'd have a really big year this year, but it's actually been Mira Andreeva. I thought both of them would have a big year, and I actually thought Schneider might have a slightly better year than Andreeva, but Andreeva is the one who's really kicked on early in this season. Maybe Schneider will do more of the back end, let's see, but so far it's not been as impressive as I would have thought. I'm going to go with her to pick. I'm going to go with her to beat Kudermetova, though. Goff has a bye. Then we've got a lot of Germans playing, which isn't a surprise because we are playing in Germany. So a few wild cards to the Germans. In Tatiana Maria, wild card versus lucky loser. Ella Seidel. I'm going to go with Ella Seidel. Julie Niemia, wild card versus Laura Siegmund, wild card. We'll go for Laura Siegmund. Then Eva Lise, wild card, plays Jasmine Paolini. Now, this is a really tough match for Eva Lise because she would have been hoping to get one of her German compatriots, like the other four have, in a very close part of the section to her. But instead, she has to face the Roland Garros 2024 finalist in Jasmine Paolini. I think Paolini will get through that one, but Eva Lise could give herself a pretty good chance, but she'll have to play some really good tennis, I think. Really good tennis to keep up with Jasmine. Mira Andreeva plays Marta Kostyuk, a good matchup here. I think Andreeva will get the win. I think her game is going to transfer beautifully onto clay. We saw it last year when she made the semi-finals of Roland Garros, and I think she's going to do some big things again in this clay court swing, whether it's at Roland Garros or another tournament. I would be very, very surprised if she doesn't do something impressive in this clay court swing. Whether it's just one tournament or not, who knows? But let's see. I'm hoping she's fit and hungry and healthy as she has been throughout the start of this year, which has been a really good start. So we've then got Alexandrova and Samsonova. That's Ekaterina Alexandrova. I'm going to go with Samsonova. Then I'm going to go with Shramkova to beat Freck. Gula has a bye. Navarro had a man on clay. This is a potential nightmare for Navarro. I am not convinced of her ability on clay. For that reason, I'm actually going to go with Haddad Meir. Ostapenko, Yastremska, I'll go with Ostapenko. Yastremska has qualified. Good. Very good from Yastremska. And even better for someone like Jana Fett, who's qualified. And she will play compatriot Donna Vekic. We saw that Vekic can play on clay last year at the Olympics, made the final. I do think these courts will be even more suited to her than the Roland Garros courts. And I think she'll have too much firepower for her countrywoman or fellow countrywoman. Swiatek has a bite. Round of 16, we've got Sabalenka and Towson. I'll go with Sabalenka. Mertens and Schneider. I'll go with Schneider. Goff to beat Seidel. Paolini to beat Sigmund. Andreeva to beat Samsonova. Pegula to beat Shramkova. Haddad Meir and Ostapenko is an interesting one. I'll go with Ostapenko. And then Vekic, Swiatek. So we've got Sabalenka, Schneider. I think Sabalenka for me. Goff and Paolini. I mean, this is an interesting one on clay. Both these players have actually made Roland Garros finals in the past. So, I was trying to think. Head-to-head is 2-0 in favour of Goff. They've never played on clay, though. That's the only thing. Goff has not been playing particularly well. I mean, Paolini also hasn't been playing amazing, but I think she's probably been playing better than Goff. I'll go with Paolini, but not really sure who would win this one, if I'm being honest. Mira Andreeva and Jessica Pegula. Pegula's been playing some really good tennis, won Charleston, and the courts are not going to be as low bouncing in Stuttgart as they were in Charleston. But, I do think... I think she's got a good chance here against Andreeva, if I'm being honest. However, I think Andreeva will come out on top. They've got Ostapenko and Swiatek. Now, if we get this, Ostapenko is a clear favourite. She just demolishes Swiatek in the head-to-head, and I would argue that these clay courts are the worst clay courts for Iga. She lost to Rybakina. She's on these clay courts, and Rybakina. Yes, we know that Swiatek does struggle with her at times, but yeah, I just feel like it's also very early in the clay court swing. So I feel if you're going to catch her, catching her at Stuttgart is not a bad shout. What's interesting though is that actually Ostapenko has never played Swiatek on clay. So in the 5 wins she has against her, it's either been on grass or hard court. And in fact, just the one grass court event and all other 4 were outdoor hard. I mean, on clay, Ostapenko has won a French Open. That is her Grand Slam title. So she plays well on clay. And at least she has the ability to play well on clay. Swiatek is the queen of clay, but in Stuttgart it's different, I think, even though she's won the title here before. I'm going to go with Ostapenko to extend the head-to-head if this were to transpire. So that gives me semi-finals of Sabalenka and Paolini. I mean, Paolini struggles with Sabalenka just because of the raw power, I think, and precision that Sabalenka possesses. The head-to-head's 4-2 to Sabalenka, and Sabalenka's won the last 3. They have never played on clay, though, which is interesting. But again, this clay is slightly different. Then I'm going to go with... I'll come back to that one. Mira Andreeva to beat Ostapenko, I think, is a fair shout. I think Andreeva would frustrate Ostapenko. Then Paolini and Sabalenka, it's tough to look away from Sabalenka, honestly, it really is. So I'm going to go with Sabalenka. Then a final of Sabalenka and Andreeva. Now, this is a really good matchup. I've loved watching this when I've seen it this year. So far, it's been a really interesting one to watch. And they've played 3 times this year. Brisbane, a win for Sabalenka. Australian Open, a win for Sabalenka. Then in the Indian Wells final, Andreeva got the win, which was interesting. And then, of course, last year on the clay at Roland Garros, Andreeva beat Sabalenka in a really tight match, 3 sets in the quarterfinals. And then Sabalenka had actually beaten Andreeva. It would have been about a month back or before then in Madrid in the quarterfinals in straight sets. Also beat Andreeva in the round of 16 in Madrid the year before in straight sets too. I think Andreeva would win. I do. I just think she'll take an edge from Indian Wells. And I think her game translates well onto clay. And I think she could frustrate Sabalenka and she'd play a really crafty game to get the W. So that's my pick. Let me know in the comment section below who you think is going to win and why. Watch when she loses straight away. I'm hoping not. But yeah, let's see. Let's see how we go. Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you very, very